Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something that honestly sounds like science fiction.
Doesn't it just?
Yeah, $1 billion hedge fund, but it's run by this anonymous global army of data scientists, all tied together with a crypto token. It's wild.
It really is. It's this fascinating mix of Wall Street finance, AI, and blockchain technology. We're looking at Numeraire and its token NMR.
Right.
And our mission today really is to break this down. How does this complex thing actually work? How did it manage to solve some old Wall Street problems and, maybe most importantly, get real institutional buy-in? We're talking $1 billion under management here.
Okay, let's unpack that. So before the crypto, before the AI army, what was the fundamental problem Richard Craib saw back in 2015? What needed fixing in traditional finance?
Well, the core issue was, and still often is, how closed everything is. Traditional quantitative finance, it's very opaque.
Secretive.
Exactly. You have a few huge players, these giant institutions, and they guard their data, their algorithms, fiercely.
Right, like their secret sauce.
Precisely. And that really limits innovation, shuts the door on potentially brilliant minds all over the world, people who aren't inside those, expensive Wall Street or London offices.
So Numeraire's goal was to kind of crack that open, democratize it.
That's the idea. Unlock that global talent. But okay, here's the tricky part.
Yeah.
If you're running a hedge fund, especially a quant fund, your trading strategies are your most valuable secrets. How do you possibly crowdsource that predictive power without just giving away the whole game?
Good point. How do you do that?
This is where it gets really clever. They tackle the opacity problem using something called obfuscated data, encrypted data sets.
Obfuscated, encrypted. Okay, walk me through that. What does that mean for the data scientists?
Okay, think of it like this. Imagine Numeraire is hosting a huge global cooking competition.
Okay, I like analogies.
Right, so the chefs, the data scientists, they get sent ingredients. That's the financial data. But here's the twist. The ingredients are completely anonymized. Encrypted.
Anonymized. So they know it's like flour or sugar, but not the brand or where it came from, applied to finance.
Exactly. They know the type of data. They can see it's, say, price history or volatility data or some other financial indicator, but they absolutely cannot see the specific stock or the commodity or the actual confidential trading strategy it belongs to.
Ah, okay. So they see the patterns, the characteristics of the data.
Precisely. The attributes.
Yeah.
Which is enough for them to build sophisticated machine learning models. They're recipes, going back to the analogy.
Right.
They use this obscure data to forecast market movements.
Yeah.
And there are, over 5,500 active data scientists doing this now, globally? And because the data is encrypted, the hedge fund's core strategies, their secrets, they stay completely safe.
Yeah.
Even with thousands of anonymous people working on improving them.
That is genuinely brilliant. It solves that core confidentiality problem. Okay, so you've got thousands of models coming in. How do you ensure quality? How do you stop people just submitting, garbage or even trying to mess things up?
Right. Incentives. That's where the token Numeraire NMR becomes absolutely critical.
Skin in the game, is that the idea?
Exactly that. Literal skin in the game. The whole system hinges on economic incentives and penalties, all managed using the NMR token. It's an ERC20 token, lives on Ethereum.
So how does it work? They don't just submit models. They have to bet on them.
Correct. When a data scientist submits their model to the weekly tournament, they must stake NMR tokens on its accuracy.
Stake. Like place a bet.
Pretty much. If they're really confident in their model, they stake more NMR. If they're less sure, maybe they stake less.
And who manages this betting process?
That's handled by a set of smart contracts called the Erasure Protocol.
Erasure Protocol.
Okay.
What does that do?
Think of it as the automated referee. It enforces the rules, the consequences, in a trustless way. It handles the payout if you're right and the penalty if you're wrong. They sometimes call the penalty griefing.
Griefing. Okay. So what happens? If the model's good, predicts well, makes money for the fund.
Then the data scientist earns more NMR tokens. That's their reward.
And if the model is bad, like way off, potentially costly,
then the NMR tokens they staked are burned. Like destroyed, gone forever.
Exactly. Permanently removed from circulation. Poof.
Whoa. Okay. That's a serious penalty.
It is. It creates this incredibly powerful, immediate economic reason to only submit your best work. If your model sucks, you lose real money. Your capital gets burned.
And that burning aspect, that must affect the token supply, right? It's deflationary.
Hugely deflationary. It's a core part of the tokenomics. Every time a bad model gets penalized, the total supply of NMR shrinks.
Hmm.
And it's not trivial. The sources mention that after they fully implemented this erasure protocol, they actually cut the maximum possible supply of NMR almost in half, down from 21 million to 11 million.
Wow. Okay, so let me just recap the flow for you listening. Encrypted data goes out globally. Scientists build models. They stake NMR based on confidence. The erasure protocol watches everything. Bad stakes burned, good stakes rewarded, and then Numeraire takes, what, the best ones? Yeah. They aggregate the signals from the highest staked, best performing models, around the top 4,000 or so,
4,000 models.
into what they call the meta model.
A meta model.
Right. By combining thousands of different, hopefully uncorrelated predictions, they spread the risk. No single model failure can sink the ship. It creates this diversified, constantly adapting trading strategy.
Okay, diversification through massive crowdsourcing. Makes sense. So let's talk results. Real-world impact. $1 billion under management is serious.
Well,
What's in it for the participants, the data scientists, the fund itself?
yeah, let's look at the beneficiaries. First, the data scientists. It's been pretty huge for them. They've collectively been paid out over $40.5 million in rewards.
40 billion. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
What?
It gives talented people anywhere in the world a way to actually make money from their machine learning skills without needing, a fancy degree or a job at Goldman Sachs.
Okay, that's the talent side. What about the fund's performance, the bottom line that Wall Street cares about?
Well, the performance seems solid. They had a reported 20% return in 2022, which is pretty strong. And obviously, the AUM hitting around $1 billion speaks volumes. But the real kicker, the ultimate validation, that came from TradFi itself.
Oh, happened.
August 2025, JP Morgan Asset Management, one of the biggest names on the street.
Yeah, okay.
They committed to investing up to $500 million into the Numeraire hedge fund.
Wait. JP Morgan? $500 million into this decentralized crypto token anonymous scientist thing.
That's the one. A massive institutional stamp of approval.
What does that even signal? If JP Morgan is putting that kind of cash into something like Numeraire.
It signals the returns are too good to ignore, right? It suggests that this collective intelligence approach, this decentralized model, it's actually generating alpha, real market-beating returns, maybe even better than their own internal super-secret quant teams can consistently manage.
Wow.
And unsurprisingly, that news caused the NMR token price to just explode. It jumped over 125% in 24 hours.
Incredible. Okay, so the upside story is clearly very compelling. Huge validation. But, for a balanced picture, we have to talk risks, criticisms. What are the weak spots mentioned in the source material?
Absolutely. And there are some significant ones. The biggest external cloud is regulation. Always is with crypto, right? Especially when it touches regulated financial markets this closely. Yeah. The fundamental status of the NMR token. Is it a security? Is it a commodity? Nobody knows for sure. The SEC, other bodies, they haven't given clear guidance.
Yeah.
And that uncertainty is a major overhang.
Right, that regulatory sword hanging over things. What about internal issues? Things about the design itself? Transparency, centralization.
Yeah, a couple of key points there. First, transparency isn't perfect. A common criticism is the lack of an official public white paper.
Really? No white paper?
Apparently not one that's easily accessible or considered official in the way the crypto community usually expects. For something this complex, people want that deep documentation.
Okay, fair enough. What else?
The other point, and this might be more fundamental to the sort of decentralized claim, is centralization risk in the evaluation process.
How so? I thought the staking and burning was decentralized on Ethereum.
The staking is. The erasure protocol handles the bets and the consequences on chain, but the actual scoring of the models, determining which models were accurate and by how much, that crucial step that decides who gets rewarded and who gets burned, that's still done off-chain by the Numeraire team.
Oh, so wait. Thousands of people stake their real money, their NMR, but they ultimately have to trust the central Numeraire team to score their performance fairly. That score determines if they win or lose their stake.
That's the setup, yes.
Yeah.
The scoring is a centralized point of trust. Now, you could argue it's maybe necessary given the complexity of tracking real-time hedge fund performance against these models, but it is a central point of control and potential failure in a system that presents itself as decentralized.
Yeah, that's a definite tension there. Any other risks?
Well, there's the inherent reliance on the talent itself.
Ah, the human element, or the AI model element, I guess.
Right. The funds of performance, its edge, it's completely dependent on attracting and retaining that high-quality global community of data scientists. If the best ones leave, if participation drops, if the quality of submitted models declines, the meta model suffers. The performance suffers directly. It's a constant competition for talent.
Makes sense. It needs that continuous fuel of good models. Okay, this has been a fantastic breakdown. Stepping back now, if you had to give the super tight elevator pitch summary of Numeraire, what would it be?
Numeraire is a highly successful AI-driven hedge fund, managing over $1 billion. It crowdsources its predictive models from a global network of data scientists using encrypted data. It uses its native token, NMR, and a unique stake and burn system managed by the Erasure protocol to economically incentivize accurate predictions and punish bad ones, making the token itself deflationary.
Perfect. Covers all the key bits. Okay, before we wrap up, we always like to leave our listeners with something to chew on, a final thought. Considering that massive $500 million commitment from JP Morgan, what does Numerai's success really tell us about where finance is heading? Is institutional money now forced to cross that bridge into these decentralized, crowdsourced models just to stay competitive? Or is the risk that the big institutions moving in will eventually just centralize and absorb these revolutionary ideas? Something to think about.
You know, that is a great point, and actually this is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something important.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into simple pieces, really getting into the nuts and bolts like this, and you want more reviews just like this one, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox.
Yep.
We do all the deep research, wade through everything, so you don't have to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of Numeraire. We really hope you feel better informed now about this intersection of AI, crypto, and high finance.
Yeah, it's complex stuff. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep exploring.